Hello, my name's Tony and welcome back to Fragdicted. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the brand new release from Dior, and it is Sauvage Elixir. If you'd like to hear my quick thoughts on this, stay right where you are. So officially this is my 2-minute Tuesday, but disclaimer, it will probably be longer than 2 minutes, don't shoot me. I got the sample from my local Boots. The sample was given me, still got a little tiny bit left, but I've had 2 wearings from it and I've got some today on the back of my hand. So I can give you a fairly decent first impressions. So shall we quickly run through the notes? So in the top we have grapefruit and spices, which are cinnamon, nutmeg and cardamom. In the mid, we have a lavender that is unique to Dior. They have crafted their own lavender. I believe it's a mixture of different harvests to make their own unique smell of lavender. And it also has a vanilla tinged coumarin note. In the base, we have the signature Sauvage Ambery Accord, which I'm assuming is the ambroxan that they're very well known for in those fragrances. It has a licorice note which is new. Vetiver, patchouli and rich woods. So what do I get from it? On first spray, I get this real warming, comforting, sweet spice, and it is quite spicy. It is a lot more spicy than the predecessors. It also reminds me of another fragrance, and I think that's because of the cardamom. The cardamom note in this, I think, is very, very prominent. It reminds me a little bit of Le Male Le Parfum, which is also in the top, very, very heavy on the cardamom. You also do get those other wintry spices, so the nutmeg and the cinnamon definitely have an impact on this fragrance, certainly in the opening. It could be a wonderful colder weather or wintry fragrance, certainly much more than the other Sauvages are. So that's the opening. Very, very lovely, deep, wintry spice. Then comes next is the lavender. The lavender note in this is actually quite prominent. Now, I wouldn't call it powdery, lavender heavy fragrance, but you can definitely pick up on the note. And I think that takes this in a more classic direction. It makes it a little bit more mature. It makes it a little bit less youthful, in my opinion. But it makes it a little bit more interesting. Now, what I would say is, I've heard people say that it's quite like the original. I've heard other people say that it is quite far apart. Actually, you know what? I think it's a little bit of both. I'm not sitting on the fence. The reason I say this is because when I sprayed it in store on a card, when I smelt them, the different versions out of the atomizers, you could definitely tell it was a Sauvage flanker. But when I got this on skin, it was a completely different animal. It is definitely much spicier, and actually it's quite far apart from the original Sauvage when you first spray it on skin. The lavender note in this is more prominent, so it takes it in a more classic direction than the others. It also doesn't have that quite piercing ambroxan note in. The ambroxan, I think, has been toned down in this, and the other notes like the woody notes and the spices have really been ramped up. It makes it deeper, it makes it darker. To me, it makes it a little bit more interesting, and I like Sauvage. Taking it away from that metallic, sort of almost headache-inducing note that people really can't stand, especially within the fragrance community. This could be something that they actually might like. In the base, it does start to lean a little bit back towards that Sauvage DNA. And I think that when you smell it in out of the atomizer and you're smelling it on a card, especially when it's dried and you're going side by side, yes, you can tell there's a small difference, but you definitely can get Sauvage from both. This is very long lasting on my skin. I sprayed it from the atomizer. Bear in mind the tiny little atomizer on these. I'm never gonna get much on the skin compared to the bigger bottle. But I sprayed quite a bit and I could get little wafts of it throughout the day. It wasn't really prominent to me. I kept getting the odd waft when I wasn't expecting it, which was quite nice. And then when I got home, my wife gave me a hug and she complimented me on it immediately. She didn't know what I was wearing. She actually asked, "What are you wearing today?" and she said it smelled quite nice and quite comforting. She did not guess it was the Sauvage flanker at all. I think that's a good thing. And she also likes Sauvage, by the way. So it's more grown up, it's spicier, it's more wintry, it's deeper, it's a little bit darker. It's not as headache inducing. I think this is an extremely clever release from Dior. I really do. The reason I say that is because Sauvage, in my opinion, being one of the best-selling fragrances in the fragrance community, this has to be something that has a little bit of a similarity to it, and it has that, but it also takes it quite far apart as well. So it will appeal to a wider audience, in my opinion. It will appeal to a more mature fragrance wearer. It will also appeal to people that already wear the original, that just want something different after wearing Sauvage for many years. A new release, they'll think, oh, this is a new release, and it will smell very different to the original. I think it will garner compliments still. My wife liked it, I liked it. It's a very pleasant smelling fragrance. So people that don't like Sauvage might like it. People that do like Sauvage will like it. I just think it appealed to loads more people. If you want a warmer version of Sauvage or a more wintry version, they've really nailed it. Now, I know this isn't an in-depth review. It was never going to be with a sample. Am I going to buy it? I think I'm going to. I really like it. I really like the bottle. I really like the presentation of that bottle. The Atomizer was fantastic, by the way, too. I think it's a little expensive, in my opinion. I think it was more in line with the Parfum pricing or the Eau de Parfum. Then I think I would have been more inclined to have picked it up there and then. I think that £100, over £100 mark for the smaller bottle is just something that's just gnawing away at me a little bit. I'm thinking, is that a little bit much for a designer fragrance when I can go and buy other things, more niche product, more individual product than this? But you know what? I think I'm still gonna buy it. I really do like it. Hope you enjoyed my little take on this. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe. One last thing, don't forget to keep smelling wonderful.